right, here we go. So this is organizational structure. I'm going to be clicking around. You guys should have your PowerPoints with you when you're doing this so you can take notes. Again, when you're studying, be sure that you can identify the outcomes. It will help you. Okay, so you want to understand an organizational structure so you can figure out what your role is within the structure and how you can change it, and if you can, and is that a good fit for you? All right. So organizationals vary by types of service. This is true. Now, the first access is always primary care. If you're somewhere less than 30 days, that's considered acute. Somewhere more than that, that's considered long-term care. It's either owned by the public, prison systems, the VA, private, some hospice like Odyssey I used to work for, they don't exist. Oh, nonprofit, private, it would be like Wheaton. For profit, I don't know of any for profit hospitals we have, but Odyssey was a for profit organization that I worked for. All right, know the difference between those. Teaching versus non teaching. Clearly, Froedtert is our teaching hospital, right? And here's some benefits of that. And a non-teaching hospital. These are some accreditation bodies. Really, the Joint Commission is the one that you will hear of most often when you are in a hospital setting. I talked about the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, and that's a reimbursement service that's run by the government. And Magnet, we'll talk more about Magnet. Ambulatory-based clinics, those are those freestanding clinics now. You can do imaging, surgical centers, GI stuff, urgent care places. Community services, subacute, that's rehab, home health organizations, and long-term care, hospice care. Really, what you want to understand is what an integrative healthcare system is. That means that the healthcare system, like Wheaton, like Aurora, they have their own labs, they have their own MRI places, they have their own urgent care places, they have their own physicians, whether you're a Wheaton physician or Aurora physician, all of that makes up an integrative healthcare system. These are different things that influence healthcare and why there are so many systems. And this is a theory. Know the theories and how they work. Okay? Read this. It's in your book. All right? Understand the complexity theory. I wrote that down in my notes, so I think that's a big one. Except I usually write down the page number and I didn't. But you all know how to use the back of your book. Read these. Okay, so an organizational structure. It forms lines of communication. Okay, I'm the big boss. These two people report to me. All of these people report to these people, who report to these people, who reports to the head honcho. This is also a chain of command, right? Who makes the decisions? All right. A mission is a purpose statement. I'm going to go out of here and I am going to go down here. Mission, vision, values. This is Wheaton's. So your mission is why, the why. They're here to living out the healing ministry of Jesus. That is the why they're here. Your vision is always future tense. So look for these words, will be, in the future, it might even say. So their health ministries will be recognized in each community we serve. So it's future tense. The mission statement says why you're here. The vision says what you hope to be. And your philosophy is your values and beliefs. So this is what they value, and these are their beliefs. Every organization has one, but what you need to understand is what they each mean. So the mission is the why. The vision is future tense, who they want to be. And their values and beliefs are their philosophy. Okay? Be sure to understand that. So why we are here, that's their purpose. Future oriented, where do we wish to go oriented? And then your values and beliefs, what you need to believe in to accomplish your mission. And some of these are through culture. And some places have their own culture, and some organizations have cultures within cultures. And that, what I mean by that is when you get into some hospital systems, you know, you don't want to work on the 3rd floor because they're really mean there, or everyone's real nice up on the 6th floor. Customary practices, that would be something as simple as they do a lot of food days, or the rotation for weekends and holidays. And what they value might be based upon, you know, whether they're a baby, OB, or maybe working with the elderly. Okay, so a culture, a unit that you work on, can promote success and positive outcomes, or it can promote disharmony and poor outcomes. And you all know what I'm talking about, that job where everybody's icky. That's what I'm referring to here. So how can you assess the culture? You do that through their website and through your interview process. So will they pay for your continuing education? Do they have security to walk you to their car? These types, are they magnet accredited? Those are different things that help you assess who is it you're going to be working for. And it's really important to know, because if you can't agree with their mission, then you don't belong in their organization. So when I worked for Wheaton, I very much could identify with the healing ministry of Jesus. And I was okay with the influence of the Catholic Church on what we did there. That might not be for you. You wouldn't want to work at Planned Parenthood if you were against birth control or abortion. You get what I'm saying? So you want to understand who it is you're working for. Everything they do should flow from their mission statement. How the work is organized, how decisions are made, who's responsible for what. Everything they do should flow from their mission. Now, understand these terms. You don't have to understand the different organizational structures we're going to talk about, but you need to understand what these terms mean. Hierarchy just means who, this guy's the big cheese, and these guys report. Chain of command is just like this implies. Span of control means this guy is in charge of these people. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that. So it defines formal relationships within an institution. Who reports to who? And sometimes people are in advisory capacities. Span of control is represented by the number of personnel reporting to the manager, anywhere from 3 to 50. Too few people, you have to wonder your need for a manager, but too many people, then the manager can't keep on top of what's happening in their unit. Span of control. All right, there's different theories. All right, there's the whole bureaucracy. We talked about that. Participative management. It's where the employees are actively involved in organizational decision making, just like this says. This is an example of a functional structure. Now that functional structure, that starts on page 185, and that basically means that for every function, there's a vice president, and it's more bureaucratic. It's very top heavy, as you see, and the lines are very, you know, if any kind of surgery is here. So think of that as bureaucratic. Service line. So every line of service has their own director. And these are in your book. And I want you to read these. Matrix is what you'll see most common, and that's a combination of both functional and service. But what I want to spend most of the time, my time on, the last, I don't know, 5 minutes, is on the flat structure, and that's the magnet recognition. And that is where you see there's not a whole lot of hierarchy between the staff and the manager, so that the people at the bedside don't have so many steps to follow to implement change. So change is more quickly implemented, and the people who are doing the jobs make the decisions that are affecting their job. Okay, this is just, we're going to go over. So shared governance is a concept within Magnet, and it's an alternative. So nurses' practice is the responsibility of the nurses. So you are empowered to be in charge of your own practice. And they usually have councils. There's unit-based council, so then you would elect, or somebody would be your unit-based representative, and then they would sit on the greater hospital council. And so they assume power and accountability for decision making. So the decisions, you bring your ideas to your unit-based person, and then they bring them to the organization, and that's how decisions get made. There's not one single model for shared governance, but the idea is the nurses have control over their practice, and people feel empowered within the system to make decisions, and then they stay longer. All right, so here's a sample, and I'm going to keep clicking because, okay, I think there's, okay, so there's the professional development, so that would be your HR. Leadership, that might be your CNO. The practice council, that would be the representative of the different units in the hospital. And quality, so there'd be someone in there from quality. And you would all get together and bring your ideas on how you could improve processes and quality and safety and all of those things. And all of that would be made here, and you would bring it back to the units. And that's how decisions would be made and be made better and more quickly. So you would need a collective mission. You'd all need to be working for the same thing. So your whys would have to all match. All right. So you want, when you develop a committee, you want, we don't need to know that. All right. Evidence-based outcomes. So what you want is you want to be able to increase job satisfaction. You want the staff nurse to feel that they have control over their job and their practice. It would create a positive hospital culture, which in turn improves patient outcomes. Because you'll hear me say over and over, nurses directly impact patient outcomes. All right, and this is how you apply for magnet status. There's 14 forces of magnetism. Here they are. This is how it works. This is like a visual representation. And so it enhances communication, facilitates decision making, and that is how it works. Where is my